the law written in our nature. We call an individual into existence, and when that individual comes, I make no apologies for what I'm about to say.
Rough, rugged, and real, you're on standstill. You obey your case, so let the man build. Words of rapture that you have to capture, and I just slapped you with a handful of literature. This dope, that fresh hype choice, smooth and raw. Rappers out, replays, rub out and erase. Competition, you must be on freebase, smoking or joking, found the beat broken. Now get your damn hands off the mic that I'm choking. Cause I got a stranglehold, still cold on parole for the role you stole. Rhymes that you yell out, but you did sell out. Crossed over, lost over here, now get the hell out. I'm not a pop star, rock and roller, I'm a rebel, blessed. Able to hold a mic like a hammer and drop grammar, treat a rapper like a wrestler and body slam them. Those who dispute get treated just like a prostitute. They get the boot and played like a flute, so just play mute. Don't even whisper, open your mouth to speak and I'ma dish your ragtag and dog. Put you in the morgue because you're petty, confetti, and not ready to rock steady. In other words, you're half-stepping, tiptoeing, get going, because my weapon is not a 9, a Uzi, or a shotgun. But when it come to hype rhymes, I got one, just like the album is still the same. Long live the cane, ain't a damn thing changed. I still get ill and kill at will and build the skill to build your grill, so don't tell me you're real. We sample beats, you sue and try to fight us. Man, you still be home with arthritis. If we didn't revive and bring back alive old beats that we appreciated, you wouldn't survive. You'd be another memory to us. Ashes to ashes and dust to dust. So understand the way that I live, that's positive. And the message I got to give is a benefit for you and me. I'm talking about DEACE, the chosen one that has turned the new leaf. I got gold teeth and they don't chew beef. No pork on my fork, strictly fish on my dish. The cane fall a victim? Sucker, you wish. I flow like water, slaughter, put you out of order. Floored ya. Rappers are ragging and tagging and snagging and bragging to be on the bandwagon. But I'm the last dragon with the knack to attract the pack, so just get back. I'm young, gifted, and black.
Please hit share, man. Please hit share, man.
Flow, you know, in the place to be with my man Marley Marl. Sending this out to Divine Force. Can't forget my main man Heavy D. To my good brothers EPMD. And to my man Ice-T over on the West Coast. Can't forget Kumo D, Busy B, MC Light, the audio too. I say peace.
My shit, bro.
That's what's up, man. But check this one out, man. I had to come with this one next, man.
It's that B-boy.
Stay chiseled like a box of white beater by Fila. Lou Ferrigno, Arnold Schwarzenegger type stilo. Stay chiseled, check your paper, nigga. Bring the bar to your chest, then push it up harder than the rest. Stay chiseled, precisely cup, sharp the fuck. The game, we came to charge you up, so take it to the brain, lay peoples. Know how to throw them things, swift on them toes, knockout blows, so stay chiseled.
Hey yo, nah,
what it do? What it do?
Same shit the other day.
Bye.
Kids gotta stay
What's
sharp,
happening?
No doubt.
or stay chiseled.
Chisel. Yo, performing chest naked. I'm looking sharp for the peoples, not in my physical form. Strong thoughts, I'm cock diesel, brolic with knowledge, so flow with me. Intelligence benching, 4,000 and 450, like a dumbbell L. Inhale to hear the lunch bell ring, sweating, working up an appetite setting. Mental calisthenics got my mind stretching, then I release it. Have my whole frame bulging under diamond pieces. Take the weight of the world on my shoulders. I control most pain for my niggas I roll with. Cause see the streets ain't no Gold's Gym, Poppy. And if I feel it going down, then my niggas will spot me. Without the mind, the body weight don't even mean nothing. Let's take 3 brothers and put them in the Bing or something. Who's gonna survive? The wise man, the fool, or the warrior? Well, if all of their minds are chiseled, then all of them stay chiseled like a box of white beater by Fila. Luke Ferrigno, Arnold Schwarzenegger type stilo. Stay chiseled, check your paper, nigga. Bring the bar to your chest, then push it up harder than the rest. Stay chiseled, precisely cup, sharp the fuck. You thought this was a game? We came to charge you up, so take it to the brain. Lay peoples, know how to throw them things, swift on them toes, knockout blows. So stay chiseled.
Stay chiseled, like Snoop Dogg for shizzle my nizzle. In them hardcore streets, I'm a straight official. 6-pack, Dawn motivator, throwing the weight up. Kid try to front, so I showed him straight up. Had his whole clip.
Yes, she did kill that speech. I love that speech,
them up, one kid yelled out, grab the basket, tried to rush me. Luckily, I wasn't rusty. Pulled out, served them all up like a custody. Couldn't go out, highway with a blowout. Like Frank, I did it my way, nigga, no doubt. Large billionaire. And I'm still here, writing rhymes for the sphere. I do not feel fear. You heard, I'm the dude on the porch with the herb. And I tell you right now, kid, soft is a word that don't describe me. What y'all know that's this lively? Barbecue 2, Nas right here beside me.
Let's go.
Bucka.
Yeah.
You know the deal. This is me, though. Beats by Supremo for all of my people, Negroes and Latinos, and even the gringos. Yo, check it, 1 for Charlie Hustle, 2 for Steady Rock, 3 for the forthcoming live future shot. It's 5 dimensions, 6 senses, 7 firmaments of heaven and hell, 8 million stories to tell, 9 planets faithfully keep an orbit with the probable 10th. The universe expands length. The body of my text possess extra strength. Power lifted, powerless, up out of this terror and inferno. My ink so hot it burned through the journal. I'm blacker than midnight on Broadway and Myrtle. Hip hop past all your tall social hurdles like the nationwide projects, prison industry complex. Working class poor, better keep your alarm set. Streets too loud to ever hear freedom ring. Say it back in with your sleep. It's dangerous to dream, but your chain cats get their chip back. You dead now. Killing fields need blood to graze the cash cow. It's a numbers game, but shit don't add up somehow. Like I got 16 to 32 bars to rock it, but only 15% of profits. Ever seen my pockets like 69 billion in the last 20 years spent on national defense, but folks still live in fear like nearly half of America's largest cities.
You already know, LPD. You already know that is.
16 ounces to a pound, 20
you already know what time it is,
Yeah.
40% of Americans own a cell phone so they can hear everything that you say when you ain't home. I guess Michael Jackson was right.
You are not alone.
Rock your hard, half black as you in the terror zone full of hard niggas, large niggas,
What's up,
dice
Haley?
jumpers, young
What's going
teens
on,
and
brother?
rich breaking life numbers, crack mothers, crack babies, and AIDS patients. Young bloods can't spell, but they can rock you a PlayStation. Snow math is whipping motherfuckers' ass. You wanna know how to rhyme? You better learn how to add. It's mathematics.
Mighty Most Def.
It's simple mathematics. Check it out. I revolve around science.
What are we talking about here?
Mighty Most Def.
It's simple mathematics. Check it out. I revolve around science.
What are we talking about here?
Do your man. Do your man.
1, 2, 3, 4.
What are we talking about here?
Yo, it's one universal law, but 2 sides to every story. 3 strikes and you bitten for life. Mandatory. 4 MCs murdered in the last 4 years. I ain't trying to be the 5th when the millennium is here. Yo, it's 6 million ways to die. From the 7 deadly thrills. 80-year-olds getting found with 9 mils. It's 10 p.m. where your C's at. What's the deal? He on the hill pumping grills to keep their bellies filled. Lighting the ass with heavy steel. Sights on the pretty shit in life. Young soldiers trying to earn their next strike. When the average minimum wage is $5.15, you best believe you gotta find a new grind to get clean. The white unemployment rate is nearly more than triple for black. So frontliners got their gun in your back. Bubble and crack, jewel theft and robbery to combat poverty and end up in the global jail economy. Stiffer stipulations attached to each sentence. But they cut back but increase police presence. And even if you get out of prison, still living join the other 5 million under state supervision. This is business. No faces, just lines and statistics from your phone, your zip code, the SSI digits. The system break man, China women in the figures. 2 columns for who is and who ain't niggas. Numbers is hard and real and they never have feelings, but you push too hard. Even numbers got limits. Why did one straw break the camel's back? Here's the secret. The million other straws underneath it. It's all mathematics.
All right, man.
Mathematics, baby. All mathematics.
It's all
You know what I
mathematics,
mean?
man. How you add it up 2 plus 2 equals 4. Sometimes it equals 5, except when it equals 0. That's the new math,
Facts, son. Facts, son.
That's the new math, man.
No doubt.
Yeah, except when it equals 0. Yeah, okay. That's right. I had to resolve that in my mind, what that would look like.
Mm-hmm.
But I did, which is a good thing. That's the good thing. I resolved what that would look like, man. Because I know I'm not crazy. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I feel like Goodwill Hunting up on there, with just a piece of paper, just scribbling away, man. So what's going on, brother, man? I'm Brother Darren, man. What's your name, man?
Man, they call me Kansu. Some call me the God, so I just roll with Kansu the God, man. Peace and blessings.
Nah, man. Also, I say, yo. Right on, man. Right on.
Yes, sir.
So, today, man, was a monumental day in Washington.
All right.
A lot of people they've been knocking President Trump, saying that he didn't. And there's actually some people that I could go and I could point the videos out right now at this second. People who lost a debate to me that said that was knocking Trump, that was really hard on Trump, saying that the president, he waited too long to close the borders. He waited too long to stop. Yeah, I know, right? He waited too long to close the borders. He waited too long to restrict immigration. Same people who were like, back last year when he was like, we got an immigration problem, had an issue with that then. And so they called him, and they called him, I think, White Zinfandel. Yeah, called him White Zinfandel. I was like, come on, man, that's mean. Call the man President Trump, man. So what we're gonna do, man, is we're gonna play the beef. Before we go into that, let's talk about really what happened. What really happened? The real piece of history that most of us, those of us who don't want to watch, who may not want to watch CNN headline news, that may actually want to watch a speech or read the actual articles and understand foreign policy and how things work. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Why is infidel? How cheap? To show really what happened with this pandemic, with this coronavirus thing. Man, I just now noticed a Joker behind you, man. That is dope, man.
Yes, sir, man.
I gotta need that, man.
The crazy genius.
He
plays fourth dimensional chess just like Trump. Fourth dimensional chess.
Man.
All day.
There you go, man. They actually call it calculus in some areas. Calculus was actually founded during the pandemic, man. It was discovered.
I didn't know that.
Pandemic. Yeah. During the pandemic, there was actually I believe it was the bubonic plague that the Cambridge University actually canceled classes, sent all the professors home. And guess who was one of the professors at Cambridge University at the time?
Who that?
Sir Isaac Newton.
Wow.
And so while he was stuck at home, guess what he did?
What's that?
He was able to figure out, it's like, how much does the moon weigh? You know what I'm saying? He just said the crib was like, how much does the moon weigh? You know what I'm saying? So it's funny, man, during the pandemic, so when people were home, kind of had to work from home, all the wonderful things that happened. So, but with the World Health Organization actually, when President Trump said, we're going to close the borders, we're going to stop travel, that was against the advice of the World Health Organization. You may or may not know that. And so let's just play this. Let's just roll this beautiful meme footage.
Yes.
So, let me stop chatting it up. You know what I'm saying? And let's actually just play what the man said.
In that order.
You know what I'm saying? Paste. Go. Ba, 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 ba. I used to want to be president, man, back in the day, man.
I did too, man. I said, man, I can fix the world. Yeah, I can.
You know what I'm saying? I realized, nah, man, hell no, I can't.
I was little, man. I was mad at Jimmy Carter when I was a youngster.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Hold on a second. Let's go back.
Thank you very much. Please.
Thank you very much, please. There we go.
Very importantly, I'd like to begin by saying that we've just reached agreement.
Hopefully you guys can hear that okay.
Treasury, Steve Mnuchin, with the major airlines, all of our great airlines, to participate in a payroll support program. This agreement will fully support airline industry workers, preserve the vital role airlines play in our economy, and protect taxpayers. Our airlines are now in good shape, and they will get over a very tough period of time that was not caused by them. The United States is continuing to make substantial progress in our war against the virus.
Let's talk about that real quick.
We agree with every.
So you know the president's telling is in a power tie. He's coming in. He's going to make a move. He's making decisions when he has a red tie on. When he has a blue tie on, he's trying to make us feel comfortable, make us feel at home, trying to pass on a message. So always watch the ties that the politicians have on. Who has them on? The degree of shade of the tie color, all this stuff. It says a lot about a man. Learn that from mom.
Precious life that has been lost to the invisible enemy, but through the darkness we can see the rays of light. We see that tunnel, and at the end of that tunnel we see light. We're starting to see it more than ever before. We've held our rate, the numbers, everything we've done. We've been very, very strong on it and very powerful on it. You look at what's happening in other countries, Spain, Italy, United Kingdom. We're working with them. We're trying to help them, especially with ventilators. They've been calling a lot. They need ventilators so badly. 15% of counties within the United States have 0 cases, and many counties within the United States have a very small number of cases. Large sections of our country are really looking at other sections and saying, wow, that looks bad, but they don't have the problem. I salute the American people for following our guidelines on social distancing. Even you people, it's so different looking out there when I look at you. Their devotion, your devotion, is saving lives. Today, I'm instructing my administration to halt funding of the World Health Organization while a review is conducted to assess the World Health Organization's role in severely mismanaging and covering up the spread of the.
Whoa. So that means it wasn't his fault, right? Okay, let me rewind that. I'm gonna rewind that back, man. There we go.
Come again?
Really looking at other sections and saying, wow, that looks bad, but they don't have the problem.
They don't have the problem.
I salute the American people for following our guidelines on social distancing. Even you people, it's so different looking out there when I look at you. Their devotion, your devotion, is saving lives. Today, I'm instructing my administration to halt funding of the World Health Organization while a review is conducted to assess the World Health Organization's role in severely mismanaging and covering up the spread of the coronavirus. Everybody knows what's going on there. American taxpayers provide $400 million and $500 million per year.
When I was in a fraternity and I was in an organization, we had the bosses who was a president. We had the keeper of record seal, and you say the keeper of record seal was better than the keeper of finance because keeper of record seal could do this. I think that's what the president just did, man. I think that's what he just did, man. To them, look, hold on, we gonna get it like here.
What going, man? The Yankee man bring the fire.
You know what I'm saying? Right on. So let's play it again. Let's go ahead
Bring
and
the
play.
fire upon them neck, boy.
WHO, in contrast, China contributes roughly $40 million a year, and even less. As the organization's leading sponsor, the United States has a duty to insist on full accountability. One of the most dangerous and costly decisions from the WHO was its disastrous decision to oppose travel restrictions from China and other nations. They were very much opposed to what we did. Fortunately, I was not convinced and suspended travel from China.
And people say that he did that.
Untold numbers of lives, thousands and thousands of people would have died. Had other nations likewise suspended travel from China, countless more lives would have been saved. Instead, look at the rest of the world, look at parts of Europe, other nations and regions who followed WHO guidelines and kept their borders open to China, accelerated the pandemic all around the world. Many countries said, we're going to listen to the WHO, and they have problems the likes of which they cannot believe. Nobody can believe. The decision of other major countries to keep travel open was one of the great tragedies and missed opportunities from the early days. The WHO's attack on travel restrictions put political correctness.
This is correct, Nene.
Measures.
This is correct.
Travel bans work for the same reason that quarantines work. Pandemics depend on human-to-human transmission. Border control is fundamental to virus control. Since its establishment in 1948, the American people have generously supported the World Health Organization to provide better health outcomes for the world and, most importantly, to help prevent global health crises. With the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, we have deep concerns whether America's generosity has been put to the best use possible. The reality is that the WHO failed to adequately obtain, vet, and share information in a timely and transparent fashion. The world depends on the WHO to work with countries to ensure that accurate information about international health threats is shared in a timely manner. And if it's not, to independently tell the world the truth about what is happening. The WHO failed in this basic duty and must be held accountable. It's time after all of these decades. The WHO failed to investigate credible reports from sources in Wuhan that conflicted directly with the Chinese government's official accounts. There was credible information to suspect human-to-human transmission in December 2019, which should have spurred the WHO to investigate immediately. Through the middle of January, it parroted and publicly endorsed the idea that there was not human-to-human transmission happening, despite reports and clear evidence to the contrary.
Parroted.
The delays the WHO experienced in declaring a public health emergency cost valuable time, tremendous amounts of time. More time was lost.
Until that.
It took to get a team of international experts in to examine the outbreak, which we wanted to do, which they should have done. The inability of the WHO to obtain virus samples to this date has deprived the scientific community of potential data. New data that emerges across the world.
Now, and the WHO
points to.
You know what? And the thing is, man, the WHO recently, I'm talking about as recent as last Friday, said that the next step is to go into people's houses and start physically removing people who they think have the virus. That's their next plan. That's the next step in the WHO's virus prevention plan. Did you know that?
No, I didn't, brother.
Yeah, man. Oh, yeah.
The unreliability of the initial reports, and the world received all sorts of false information about transmission and mortality. The silence of the WHO on the disappearance of scientific researchers and doctors, and on new restrictions on the sharing of research into the origins of COVID-19 in the country of origin, is deeply concerning, especially when we put up by far the largest amount of money. Not even close. Had the
NATO,
done its
Next
job,
NATO,
get medical experts
NATO.
in China to objectively assess the situation on the ground and to call out China's lack of transparency, the outbreak could have been contained at its source with very little death, and certainly very little death by comparison. This would have saved thousands of lives and avoided worldwide economic damage. Instead, the WHO willingly took China's assurances to face value, and they took it just at face value and defended the actions of the Chinese government, even praising China for its so-called transparency. I don't think so. The WHO pushed China's misinformation about the virus, saying it was not communicable and there was no need for travel bans. They told us when we put on our travel ban, a very strong travel ban, there was no need to do it. Don't do it. They actually fought us. The WHO's reliance on China's disclosures likely caused a 20-fold increase in cases worldwide, and it may be much more than that. The WHO has not addressed a single one of these concerns, nor provided a serious explanation that acknowledges its own mistakes, of which there were many. America and the world have chosen to rely on the WHO for accurate, timely, and independent information to make important public health recommendations and decisions. If we cannot trust that, this is what we will receive from the WHO. Our country will be forced to find other ways to work with other nations to achieve public health goals. We'll have no choice but to do that. Our countries are now experiencing, you look all over the world, tremendous death and economic devastation because those tasked with protecting us by being truthful and transparent failed to do so. It would have been so easy to be truthful. And so much death has been caused by their mistakes. We will continue to engage with the WHO to see if it can make meaningful reforms. For the time being, we will redirect global health and directly work with others. All of the aid that we send will be discussed at very, very powerful letters and with very powerful and influential groups and smart groups, medically, politically, and every other way. And we'll be discussing it with other countries and global health partners, what we do with all of that money that goes to WHO. And maybe WHO will reform, and maybe they won't. But we'll be able to see, as you know, in other countries hit hard by the virus, hospitals have been tragically forced to ration medical care and the use of ventilators. But due to our early and aggressive action, the skill of our healthcare workers, and the resilience of our healthcare system, no hospital in America has been forced to deny any patient access to a ventilator, with all of the talk you've heard, where some states wanted 40,000 ventilators. I said, that doesn't work, 40,000. And they ended up with 7,000 or 8,000. And they had no problem. 40,000 ventilators for one state. It was ridiculous. The scariest day of my life was about a month ago, when after a long day of meetings, my team told me that we were going to be needing 130,000 ventilators, that we were short hundreds of thousands of ventilators. This is the system we inherited. I had governors requesting unreasonable sums that the federal government just didn't have. And you look at the states didn't have, the states were not.
The states were not ready.
I knew that every person who needed a ventilator and didn't get one would die. And that's what we were told. They would die. I saw in other countries, doctors having to make decisions on who got a ventilator and who didn't. And I knew that this would be a defining challenge of the crisis. Those that didn't get ventilators were said to be in a position only of one alternative, and that was death. Would we be able to prevent Americans from dying because we couldn't get them ventilators and the ventilators that they needed, and they needed immediately? I instructed my team to move heaven and earth to make sure that this didn't happen. We started to smartly ration and distribute the ventilators that we had and that others had. And I got daily updates on the supply we had from requests coming in and people wanting to have updates. We had a great group of people working on it. I instructed my team to use the Defense Production Act, and the Defense Production Act was used very powerfully, more powerful.
Hold on a second. I'm going to stop right here, man. And we'll I know we're going to go more with the press conference more, because there's a lot more there's a lot more still that can be said from this. But I wanted really quickly, man, I mentioned the World Health Organization, the guy, kind of the role they had to play in this whole part. Okay. So this was actually back on February 28th, 2020. This is the World Health Organization's executive director.
A pandemic is a unique situation in which we believe that all citizens on the planet will likely be exposed to a virus within a defined period of time. We could say that, and I've said in previous press conferences, if this was influenza, we would probably have called this as a pandemic by now. But what we've seen with this virus is that with containment measures, with robust public health response, the course of this epidemic, or these multiple epidemics, can be significantly altered. And to declare a pandemic, it is unhelpful to do that when you're still trying to contain a disease. A pandemic is also a word that may be attractive at a global level to describe an event, but it's not necessarily so if you're one of the 2 billion people living in countries with weaker health systems, because what's in that sense you're accepting, as I said to my colleague from Mexico, is that you now are entering a phase of mitigation, and that you're giving up on the possibility of containing and slowing down the virus. So pandemic as a colloquial term, we've seen the pandemic of obesity or the pandemic of HIV or all of these words that are used. We want to move beyond colloquial terms. If we say there's a pandemic of coronavirus, we're essentially accepting that every human on the planet will be exposed to that virus. The data does not support that as yet. And China have clearly shown that that's not necessarily the natural outcome of this event. If we take action, if we move quickly, if we do the things we need to do, that does not need to be the history of this event. But if we don't take action, if we don't move, if we don't prepare, if we don't get ready, that may be a future that we have to experience and we have to endure. So much of the future of this epidemic is not in the hands of the virus. A lot of the future of this epidemic is in the hands of ourselves. And those countries who've taken control, who've taken responsibility, have clearly shown that a lot can be done to stop this virus.
Wow.
Dr. Michael Ryan, he's a leader at the World Health Organization, announced that in response to the spread of this virus, authorities may have to enter people's homes and remove family members, presumably by force.
In most parts of the world, due to lockdown, most of the transmission that's actually happening in many countries now is happening in the household, at family level. In some senses, transmission has been taken off the streets and pushed back into family units. Now we need to go and look in families to find those people who may be sick and remove them and isolate them in a safe and dignified manner.
Just so you know, we're coming to your house, seizing your children and, quote, isolating them in a safe and dignified manner.
So this is, and I don't know what's going on with the signal and why it's coming through so fuzzy. This is kind of, man, what they got planned for us, man.
It's a scene from a show, Fear of the Black Planet.
Mm-hmm.
Fear of the Dawn of the Dead. Now I know. However, it's a scene where they do quarantine the neighborhood, and they check people's health, and then they take them to another area where they conveniently isolate them in a respectful manner. I'm just saying. Fear of Dawn of the Dead. Just check that out on Hulu. Fear.
That's what's up, man.
I know it's crazy, man, but literally word for word what he just said. They said it, and that movie was made a couple years ago.
My thing is this, man, is I asked my wife today or yesterday, I said, what if, she's a teacher, what if they require you to get a vaccine, right, which is basically to get the virus, in order to go back to work teaching? What would you do? And then how are they going to verify if someone has taken the vaccine? They have to use some sort of microchip, some sort of verification thing in order to do that. I'm not taking a microchip. And
no, sir.
I think that under any other president, I don't think that they would give a pushback. I think Obama wouldn't give a pushback. Trump, on the other hand, I think is going to give a pushback on something like that.
That's right. I think a lot of people are not really owning up to what's going on in the nation, man. I think they're not really paying attention to the fact that we have military issues. We have a military stalemate because the president is the executor of our military. That's really him as a world dignitary. His second responsibility is the protection of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And the World Health Organization priority is not the protection of the people of the planet. It's the efficiency of business on the planet, but it ain't got nothing to do with the protection of the people. It's all about efficiency and loss prevention.
He has responsibility first to protect the Constitution and the people of the United States, man. And as president, I'm confident that man he's the right guy for the job, man.
He's more than qualified. He's probably one of the most revolutionary presidents and proactive presidents since John F. Kennedy.
Yep.
That's about the last person I've seen that's willing to put their neck out there against popular opinion. It really got me concerned, bro.
Mm-hmm.
That they talking about coming in your crib.
Yep. Yep.
That's a whole nother level right there, bro.
Yeah. So yeah, defund these cats. Think about it, man. This was a play for them, man, to come in and take over America, man. It really was. It really was a play, man. It still is. It's still in effect, man. So just want to tell y'all, man, that's where we got the little snippet for today. Appreciate it, man. Come back, please share this, to your Facebook timeline, Twitter. If you're not in Twitter jail, some people know who I'm talking to. If you're not in Twitter jail, go ahead and share it to Twitter, share it to Tumblr, Blogger, all that stuff, man. Please do, man. And thank you so much, man.
Peace and power, y'all. Stay blessed, not stressed. Keep your head on the swivel, man. Watch out.
Stay chiseled.
Yes, sir.
I got to put on something before we can go out of here, man. You know what I'm saying?
I like the overwhelming event. The baddest dude. What's my man's name? Oh, man. It's a new guy. He just came out. Oh, man. He did Exhibit A.
Oh, Jay Electronica.
Jay Electronica, the overwhelming event is it's that splat. That splat right there. Ooh. The goody boy.
The scene unfolds. Young goods, 13 years old, exposed themselves to any Tom, Dick, and Hank. Got more. Stretch Mars to these hoes, holla they got rank. See Sega ain't in this new world of them experimenting in Atlanta, Georgia. United Nations overseas. Train assassins, do search and seize. Ain't knocking or asking. They're coming for niggas like
what is it?
White trash like they, drinks like her. Back in slavery.
All right, bro.
All right, man. Be easy, not greasy, y'all.
Peace out, y'all.
Hitler was living in 1945.